India strongly hits out at Pakistan on terrorism. The Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla addresses the 5th Global Speakers Conference, says Pakistan is the leading exporter of terror and international community should isolate Pakistan. In his reply to a Pakistan's representative, Om Birla says inaction against terrorists is an example of Pakistan's state-sponsored policy on terror. The flood situation remains grim in Bihar. About 81 lakh people across 16 districts affected. The Met Department has forecast thunderstorm accompanied by medium to heavy rains in Odisha. Indore retains the cleanest city tag for the 4th year in a row. Chhattisgarh is the cleanest state in the 5th edition of the annual cleanliness survey. Prime Minister Modi congratulates the winners, says such competitive spirit strengthens the Swachh Bharat mission. India and China conclude another round of talks for a resolution of the standoff along the line of actual control. The Indian External Affairs Ministry spokesperson says the talks were candid and both the sides will continue to work towards complete disengagement of the troops along the LAC in the western sector. The recovery rate from COVID-19 near 74% in the country. About 21 lakh patients recover. The COVID-19 cases worldwide rise to over 2.28 crore with 7.96 lakh deaths. The US initiates the process to reinstate all UN sanctions on Iran. The Secretary of State Mike Pompeo notifies the UN. Iran Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif says Washington had no right to trigger the snapback mechanism as it was no longer a party to the pact. Hello and good morning. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli. A top story. India has once again exposed Pakistan's policies to support and encourage terror, saying it's a country whose Prime Minister glorified the dreaded terrorist Osama bin Laden a martyr from its parliament. The Lok Sabha Speaker said this while exercising India's right of reply against Pakistan's observation during the virtual 5th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament. During a discussion on the issue of terror, India responded to Pakistan National Assembly Speaker's observation, saying the UN Analytical Support Sanctions Monitoring Team mentions Pakistan as the leading exporter of terror with more than 6,000 nationals currently engaged in terrorism. The Speaker said the international community should isolate Pakistan to increase the cost of engaging in the terror activities. Om Birla added that Pakistan's Prime Minister himself admitted to nearly 40,000 terrorists on its soil. He also said Pakistan's aggressions against J&K in 1965, 1971, 1999 Kargil War, attack on Mumbai and Parliament, Uri and Pulwama attacks show Pakistan's state-sponsored policy of terror as evident in the inaction against likes of Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar and Ishanullah Ehsan. The Speaker also stressed that Jammu and Kashmir has been and will remain an integral part of India. Om Birla called upon Pakistan to end the cross-border terror, saying that our overtures should not be taken as a sign of weakness. And let's now go across to our correspondent Arun Sharma, who is joining us with more updates on that. Arun, good morning. India's strong reply, they're coming once again as far as Pakistan's nefarious activities are concerned, and in fact urging the international community to isolate the terror-backing nation.
Absolutely, Nancy, and this is not for the first time that Pakistan is exposed on an international platform and of course on the multilateral platform as well. Earlier also we have seen that during the United Nations address when we talk about the G20 summit on various multilateral forums, Pakistan has been isolated and Pakistan has been exposed at various multilateral international platforms as well. So now when Lok Sabha Speaker, when he addresses and chooses his right to reply as far as when we talk about this international speakers conference, the message is loud and clear that Pakistan has again been isolated, and of course that it has been exposed on international forum as well. We know this fact that Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan in his parliament clearly mentioned this term that Osama bin Laden was, a martyr. So primarily the Pakistan Prime Minister glorified whatever Osama bin Laden did, and he termed Osama bin Laden as, as a martyr. That was the Pakistan stance as far as Osama bin Laden, the international terrorist, is concerned. Earlier also we have seen that in various international forums, and when we look at the main document of the G20 summit, the final outcome in the document of G20 summit, it mentions about various terrorist organizations that are based in Pakistan. It of course mentions about Hafiz Saeed, Maulana Masood Azhar. When we talk about these kind of terrorists and their terrorist organizations, so they also find space in international document at the multilateral forum that these terrorism should end. The kind of terrorist activities these kind of organization and these terrorist outfits are indulging, that should come to an end. So these also find place as far as international documents of G20 and of course UN is concerned. Time and again we have seen that when we talk about Pakistan, it is indulged creating fake lies, and as far as creating doctored images as far as UN is concerned. We have seen that how Pakistan created a doctored image and showcased it at the United Nations and created lies about Kashmir. So important part is that Pakistan PM himself has addressed that more than 40,000 terrorists are being trained on the soil of Pakistan. When India did surgical strike on Pakistan, various terrorist outfits and the bunkers were bursted at that time. So this clearly shows that how Pakistan is indulging in cross-border terrorism, in terrorist activity, and various organizations. The terrorist organizations are indulging terrorist activity. So this clearly sends a message that how Pakistan is again being exposed as far as international level is concerned. Nancy.
Absolutely. All right, Arun, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and putting this development into perspective for us. Thanks very much. Moving on now to the flood situation in Bihar, where there's been no significant change. There, over 81 lakh population of 1,317 panchayats in 130 blocks of 16 districts is still facing the wrath of floods. The river is flowing above the danger mark at Patna's Gandhi Ghat, but its water level has stabilized at present. The water level of the Ganga river in Kehelgaon is 31 centimeters above the danger mark and its level is rising. The Principal Secretary of Water Resources Department, Sanjeev Hans, said that the water level of most of the rivers of the state has started receding, due to which some improvement in the flood situation is expected in the coming days. In Munger as well, the water level of Ganga has been continuously increasing for the past 5 days. The people of the low-lying areas of the district and the Diara region are being alerted to go to higher places. The Met Department has predicted 10 to 25 millimeter rainfall in the catchment areas of rivers located in Nepal. The river water has also entered the Shakti Peeth Chandika place located there. The relief and rescue operations are being carried out on a large scale. 3,15,000 people are being provided cooked food through 443 community kitchens, while 5,000 people are staying in the 6 relief camps in Samastipur and Khagadia. Till now, 9,26,000 families have been given relief amount of 6,000 rupees per family. And let's now go across to our correspondent Salman Haider, who is joining us from Patna to give us an update as far as the flood situation there in the state is concerned. Salman, good morning. And the update this morning, does it look like that better days are up ahead as far as the water level receding is concerned?
Yeah, Nancy, very good morning. As far as per the Water Resources Department, as you said, in coming days we can hope some improvement in North Bihar, where the water is receding somewhat in Buri Gandak, Gandak and Mahananda has already gone below the danger mark in this Sivanchal area. So we can hope that in coming days there will be some improvement in flood situation. As of now, in some of the areas the water has receded, but the overall situation remains grim as far as a large number of population is concerned. 19 lakh people in Muzaffarpur are still facing the deluge, while in Darbhanga it is still 20 lakh people are facing the deluge. So the situation as of now is grim, but we may hope some improvement in coming days. Yeah, Nancy.
Yeah, okay. Salman, and an update on the relief and rescue operation that's on a war footing across the state?
Yeah, 27 NDRF and SDRF teams are engaged in rescue and relief work. As far as rescue, there is nothing left rescue. Only relief work is going on, and the dry ration and fodder for cattle is being supplied through, by road, and where the villages are unreachable, they are using boats, and they are using boats for transportation also.
Okay.
So the relief work is going on a full swing. Even the flood affected people are being supplied
Right.
cooked food through community kitchens, as you said. Around 443 community kitchens are still operating and providing food. Yeah.
Okay.
Nancy.
Okay. All right, Salman Haider, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing all those inputs as far as the flood situation in Bihar is concerned. And moving on now to the flood situation in Madhya Pradesh, where the deep low pressure area in the Bay of Bengal has reached near Chhattisgarh on Thursday. Monsoon Ronica is passing through Jabalpur, and due to these two systems, heavy rainfall is likely at various places across Madhya Pradesh, including capital Bhopal. According to the Met Department, there may be an excess of rain in parts of Bhopal, Hoshangabad, Jabalpur, Ujjain, Sagar and Indore divisions during the next 48 hours. Meanwhile, Bhopal witnessed heavy rains of around 4.8 centimeters for 6 hours last evening, leading to waterlogging in several low-lying areas. According to the Met Center Bhopal, due to the monsoon system being active, there are chances of rains in the entire state, including the capital. It added that the monsoon has intensified in August after the inadequate monsoon earlier. Also, the Met Department has predicted heavy rains in Bhopal, Jabalpur, Sagar, Rewa, Hoshangabad, Indore divisions today and tomorrow. Tomorrow, heavy rainfall is also likely to be witnessed along with the districts of Ujjain, Indore and the districts bordering Rajasthan, as well as in Shivpuri, Guna and Rajgarh. And let's now go across to our correspondent Ajit Dwivedi, who is joining us from Bhopal this morning. Ajit, just give us a sense of the situation there this morning in the wake of the department's prediction coming of heavy rains today and tomorrow.
बिल्कुल देखिए, पिछले 24 घंटे से तो मध्य प्रदेश के करीब 39 जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट हैं उसमें भारी बारिश हो रही है और मौसम विभाग का कहना है कि अगले 2 दिन तक जो है ऐसा ही हाल रहेगा। राजधानी भोपाल की बात करें तो भोपाल में कल 6 घंटे के अंदर करीब 4.5 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा बारिश हुई, जिससे जो लो लाइन इलाके हैं, जो निचले इलाके, वहां पर पानी भर गया और काफी समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ा। हालांकि जो मध्य प्रदेश में करीब 1 महीने से जो है वो पानी बहुत ज्यादा नहीं बरस रहा था, बहुत ज्यादा बारिश नहीं हो रही थी और पूरा जो था जुलाई का महीना था वो और आधा अगस्त जो था वो पूरा ड्राई भी था। लेकिन अब जो है जो मौसम का जो है सिस्टम बना हुआ है और लगातार जो है मध्य प्रदेश के अलग अलग भागों में बारिश हो रही है, जिसके कारण से कि जो जलभराव की स्थितियां हो गई है और कई जगह पर जो बरसाती नदियां हैं वो उफान पर है, जिस कारण से जो रास्ते हैं वो काफी अवरुद्ध हो गए हैं, वो ब्लॉक हो गए हैं और इस कारण से लोगों को काफी समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। हालांकि जब लंबे समय के बाद बारिश हुई है तो जो यहाँ पर जो खेती किसानी करने वाले जो किसान है वो खुश है, क्योंकि इस समय जो धान और मक्का की जो फसल है और सोयाबीन की फसल है उसको इससे फायदा होगा। लेकिन लगातार भारी बारिश के कारण जो शहरी इलाके हैं, जो लो लाइन के इलाके हैं, जो ऐसी जगह है जहां पर की नदियां जो है वो उफान पर है, वहां पर काफी समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। मौसम विभाग का कहना है कि जो 39 डिस्ट्रिक्ट जो अभी बारिश से प्रभावित हुई है और आने वाले समय में यानी कि अगले 2 दिन के अंदर जो है भारी बारिश और होगी, जिसमें कि भोपाल, इंदौर, उज्जैन, होशंगाबाद, जबलपुर, ग्वालियर चंबल के इलाके, राजगढ़, गुना, ये सभी इलाके शामिल है और इन इलाकों में भारी बारिश हो सकती है, इसलिए वहां पर मौसम विभाग ने अलर्ट जारी किया है। हालांकि जिस तरीके से बारिश हो रही है उसको देखते हुए प्रशासन भी अलर्ट है और ऐसे जो नदियां जहां पर ऐसे पुल जो कि ओवरफ्लो, जिसके ऊपर से पानी बह रहा है, ओवरफ्लो हो गई है नदियां, वहां पर जो है चौकसी बढ़ा दी गई है, जिससे कि जो लोग जो है वो नदियों को क्रॉस ना करें और वहां पर गाड़ियों की जो आवाजाही जो है वो रोक दी गई है। लेकिन कई जगह ऐसी है जहां पर की नदियां जो है उफान पर है और जिस कारण से लोगों को काफी समस्याएं जो है वो हो रही है और आवागमन जो है रुक चुका है, जनजीवन जो है काफी प्रभावित हो रहा है।
Absolutely. All right, Ajit, thanks very much for joining us and sharing those inputs. So, situation is grim in Madhya Pradesh, and that's causing a lot of inconvenience to the people there of the state. In fact, the rivers are flowing above the danger mark, and the Met Department issuing an alert in various parts of the state. Moving on now, Union Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri on Thursday announced the results of the 5th Annual Cleanliness Survey. And Indore continues to rule the roost in the category of cities with population of over 1 lakh for the 4th time in a row. It was followed by Surat in Gujarat bagging 2nd place and Navi Mumbai from Maharashtra getting the 3rd place. Chhattisgarh is the cleanest state in the category of more than 100 urban local bodies. Varanasi was the cleanest city in the category of towns on the banks of Ganga, while Jalandhar was chosen as the cleanest cantonment board in the country. In the mega city with population of over 40 lakh category, Ahmedabad has been chosen as the cleanest city, and in the 10 to 40 lakh population category, Vijayawada has become the cleanest city. Mysuru has been chosen as the cleanest city in the 3 to 10 lakh population category, along with New Delhi Municipal Council bagging the cleanest capital in the country. On to some other news now. The working mechanism for the consultation and coordination on India-China border affairs held its 18th meeting on Thursday. It discussed about the disengagement and de-escalation process along the line of actual control. An Indian Foreign Ministry spokesperson said the talks were candid and in-depth, and both the sides will continue to work towards complete disengagement of the troops along the LAC in the western sector.
Two sides had a candid and in-depth exchange of views on the existing situation in the India-China border areas. They reaffirmed that in accordance with the agreements reached between the two foreign ministers and the two special representatives, the two sides will continue to sincerely work towards complete disengagement of the troops along the LAC in the western sector. In this context, they agreed to resolve the outstanding issues in an expeditious manner and in accordance with existing agreements and protocols.
And moving on now to COVID updates, the number of patients recovering is on a steady rise over the past several months due to early identification through testing, surveillance and contact tracing. With more patients recovering and being discharged from hospitals and home isolation, India's total COVID-19 recoveries have now reached nearly 21 lakh. So far, 20,96,664 patients have recovered. And with the recoveries of 58,794 in the last 24 hours, India's recovery rate amongst the COVID-19 patients has reached nearly 74%, reflecting that the number of patients recovering is on a steady rise over the past several months. The case fatality rate is lower than the global average and progressively declining. It currently stands at 1.89%. Now, Meghalaya government has decided to close all the entry points to the state for a week. The decision of closing the entry points will be in fact be implemented every month in the next 3 months. This is being done to unburden the state health and the frontline workers and the respective district administration engaged in intensive surveillance for COVID-19. The Meghalaya Chief Minister has said the state is strategizing long-term management of COVID-19 in the state by actively involving legislators, community bodies and the citizens. A meeting will be conducted with the MLAs of the East Khasi Hills district to take this plan forward. Meanwhile, the total active cases in the state stand at 925, while the total recovered cases stand at 730. And the Lieutenant Governor of J&K Manoj Sinha, who was on his first visit to Shri Mata Vaishnodevi Shrine after taking over as the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu Kashmir early this month, inspected the wayside facilities put in place by the Shrine Board for the facilitation of the pilgrims. The Lieutenant Governor inspected the arrangements made by the board for the pilgrims in view of the resumption of the Yatra on the 16th of this month. He asked the CEO of the shrine to take all the precautionary measures to be taken by the board in connection with the COVID-19 for the safety and security of the pilgrims, and the shrine board staff should continue till the situation normalizes. The Lieutenant Governor also directed the CEO for expeditious planning and construction of Durga Bhavan for providing free of cost accommodation facilities for the pilgrims. Besides that, the Lieutenant Governor asked for further enhancing accommodation facilities for the pilgrims, maximizing utilization of the IT-enabled services for facilitation of the yatris, and expediting work on the installation of the video walls project. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Education Ministry has unveiled the virtual inspection for schools affiliated to the CBSE. And beginning this month, the virtual inspection of the schools will be done for upgradation from the middle to secondary school or secondary to senior secondary school. In fact, the upgradation is also being seen as a time and cost effective facility for the schools to upgrade the affiliation status for an already affiliated school. Approximately 1,000 cases have been registered for upgradation in session 2019-20 and 2020-21 instantly. The CBSE has defined the standard operating procedure to conduct the virtual inspection of the schools, which works on a digital platform in real time and will give access to inspect the infrastructure such as additional class, rooms, laboratories, availability of the teachers for the classes or the subjects required to qualify for the upgradation of the school. And let's now move on, take a look at the updates on COVID-19 from across the world. Over 2.28 crore COVID-19 cases have been reported globally, with more than 7.96 lakh deaths. As many as 1.5 crore people have recovered from the virus so far. The COVID-19 cases have been shooting up in the US, making it the worst hit by the pandemic for several weeks now. The US has over 57.45 lakh cases of the virus, with the death toll more than 1.77 lakh. The US is followed by Brazil, which has recorded more than 1.12 lakh deaths and over 35 lakh cases. And talking in terms of the COVID-19 death toll worldwide, the US and Brazil are followed by Mexico, with the death toll nearing 58,000. And news now from back home, onto some shifting focus now. A major fire accident occurred at 10:30 last night in the left bank canal power plant in Patalganga, Amrabad zone in Nagar Kurnool district of Telangana. Several blasts were heard and huge flames engulfed the 4th unit terminal of the power plant. About 25 personnel were on duty, out of which 10 escaped through the tunnel. The whereabouts of the 9 personnel is still unknown. The power minister has reached the spot and the state machinery has been galvanized into action, with the collector and the SP undertaking the rescue operations. Let's go across now to correspondent A. Surekha, who is joining us from Hyderabad. If you could share with us the updates from this tragedy that's taken place, what can you share with us?
Yes, Nancy, tragedy it seems to be, but the fire is under control now.
Okay.
Thick smoke that had arisen because of the fire, huge fire that had caught in the 4th unit of the power plant located in Amrabad zone, on the way to Patalganga. This is in Nagar Kurnool district of Telangana. This the fire allegedly caught fire because of the short circuit in the 4th unit, but nothing official has yet come about confirmation of the cause of the accident, Nancy. It happened at 10:30 p.m. last night, and 8 personnel somehow through the underground tunnel they escaped, fortunately, and about 9 are yet missing. Unfortunately, 9 personnel's whereabouts are yet unknown. Fire department immediately was rushed into action, and the state machinery with the collector and SP immediately took up the rescue and fire dousing operations under the supervision of Power Minister Jagdish Reddy, who immediately rushed to the spot. He's there right now. And the thick smoke had earlier prevented the fire, dousing of the fire, but now it seems that it is gradually coming under control. Nancy.
All right, A. Surekha, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing those details there. The cause of the tragedy is still unknown, but we are given to understand that the rescue and relief operations are underway and the whereabouts of some of the personnel is still unknown. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.